All right, so you guys getting excited for NHL trade deadlines? I am. Anyways, hey, $22.5 billion was asked today by Psaki in her press conference for more COVID relief. Of course, without that, they won't be able to fund monoclonal antibodies. Here's what she said.
First, as you may have seen and many of you have reported, today we've outlined the severe and immediate consequences that the United States will face if Congress fails to provide us with $22.5 billion in emergency funding to fight COVID-19. Those consequences are dire. Fewer monoclonal antibodies sent to states, an inability to purchase additional treatments, fewer tests available to Americans, less surveillance for future variants, and a risk of running short on vaccines. For months, we have been engaging Congress about our needs for additional COVID response funds. Just to give you a few examples, in January, we notified Congress that responding to the unprecedented surge in cases due to Omicron would exhaust our funds. Throughout February, we held briefings about the lack of funding and what the consequences would be if we didn't get additional funds. In the President's State of the Union address, the President called for additional COVID funding, and our National Preparedness Plan made clear that funding is needed. In total, senior administration officials have held more than 36 calls and meetings with Congress and at least 10 briefings to committees to communicate our needs so that we can do what Americans should expect from their government, protecting them from a once-in-a-generation pandemic. I'll finally say on this, with cases rising abroad, scientific and medical experts have been clear that in the next couple of months, there could be increasing cases of COVID-19 here in the United States as well. We talked about this a bit yesterday. Waiting to provide funding until we're in a worse spot with the virus will be too late. We need funding now, so we're prepared for whatever comes.
Isn't that amazing that they said monoclonal antibodies as if it's just normal, as if they just didn't deny hundreds of, if not thousands of people from using this, myself included. I was denied the ability to have this potentially life-saving medication when I had COVID. Instead, they wanted to push a drug that could have hurt me. I, of course, fought for myself and defended myself and didn't allow them to use this stuff. But here's the reality. This administration, as we know, is an evil administration. They want to hurt you and they don't care how it affects you. They're purposely causing inflation and they're purposely killing us at the gas pump and they're purposely doing all of these things, yet they'll blame now because the last 3 weeks, apparently inflation only happened in 3 weeks since Putin invaded Ukraine. That's basically what the administration wants you to believe, as if you guys are idiots, if we don't understand what's happening in the world, that we haven't been paying attention to all the things that are said and done. It's quite crazy. Here's another thing that Biden in his speech announced that they were going to push ARPA-H, A-R-P, what is it called? ARPA-H, Advanced Research Projects Agencies for Health. And what that they're proposing that's going to do is it's going to be biomed, Alzheimer's and cancer and all that kind of stuff. Here's what he had to say.
I'd like to add a word about another investment this bill makes, one that I expect will pay dividends for hope, healing, and for our economy for generations to come. And it's called ARPA-H, Advanced Research Project Agencies of Health. This will be a new kind of entity, an engine for innovation, a place where we'll do the high-risk, high-reward research that can drive unprecedented progress in biomedicine. It's based on DARPA, the Defense Department's Advanced Research Project Agency, that has led to breakthroughs in technologies that protect our national security, like the internet, GPS, and so much more. ARPA-H will have a singular purpose: to drive breakthroughs to prevent, detect, and treat diseases including cancer, Alzheimer's and diabetes, and other diseases.
It is interesting that after all of this, after the last 2 years, that we would even consider allowing the administration, no matter who is in office, the ability to fund more research under government authority. I am okay with research being done and grants being done for specific medicines. That's how a lot of medicines are invented or created or discovered. But there should be no control from the federal government. I don't mind necessarily oversight and making sure things are done appropriately, that kind of stuff. Like I'm kind of okay with that, but to just give them another agency, another administration, another bureaucratic nightmare, and especially in the area of health, is not a wise decision. So I would ask for you guys to get in touch with your senators and congressmen and have them oppose this. The idea is not necessarily a terrible one until you start combing through what they want to do. And I don't think it's an appropriate thing for the federal government to be doing. That should be left up to the private industry. So because they really have the motivation. Frankly, they have monetary motivation to invent life-saving, life-giving medications and cures for these things. But to allow the administration to govern that and to oversee that, we know how well that's worked out for the NIAID, Fauci's organization. For 38 years, he has sat in a place and only made things worse administratively. His agenda is what happened. It was his agenda that he covered up, February 1st emails and all those things that we know that they knew what was going on. So we can't allow yet another administrative conglomerate to be created, especially in the area of health. That's only going to cause more problems. So we've got to cut this off. It's not just one of those, like, I mean, the speech that he says is just monumentally boring. It's clearly just poorly reading through a script, but it's these little things that just kind of get shoved off into the corner that don't get ever paid attention to. And I really do think that we really need to pay attention to this, especially given the last couple of years. Both of these things are kind of related too. So we need to pay attention to this. Would you also go to all of my social medias and engage with me, like and subscribe and share all those things. It really is important for me to continue this work and to partner with you. And then if you can go to paulprocess.com, and if you are able to support me, there's an about page that gives you all the options there, or you can go to Facebook, become a part of our supporters group. It's a $5 a month thing. I know that's a stretch. That's a half a tank a gallon or half a tank of gas almost in some places. But if you can see it in your heart to support me and the things that I'm trying to do, you guys are valued. I really do appreciate all of you. I can't do this stuff without you. And so I'm just very much appreciative. But if you could, and I'll have the ability to, if you don't, that's okay. Just like and share and subscribe and do all the things that you can do. Help me get these words out. My name is Paul Process. You guys have a great day. Bye.